This next question is, what role does power play in the management of conflicts? I love this question because by asking that question, we're actually making room for the reality that power differences do actually influence conflicts that are happening between individuals or between teams. So it's important to remember that when we're in a conflict with somebody, that we're sitting across from somebody who's not our enemy, but you're with a colleague. They may be failing, it may be frustrating, but generally people want to do well in their work, if only to maintain their livelihoods. People come to conversations in trying to manage conflicts. If they have less power, they can come to those conversations with a set of threats over their head, whether it's real or perceived. If you are coming into a conflict with somebody who has the power to fire you, demote you, or even if they don't have that kind of structural power, they have power in terms of influence. So they may have influence with decision makers. Coming into a conversation as a person with less power means that you have that sense of threat that's with you. This is also true when we're looking at differences that exist around identities. So if you're from the dominant culture, you are holding power, more power than people who come from traditionally marginalized populations. So power is part of the equation, and wishing it away doesn't make it go away. So it's important that if you're a person who has more power, I'd recommend that you, one, do your best around your emotional regulation. Your emotional behavior in those interactions, the cost of it, say, for example, if you become angry or frustrated or raise your voice, is quite high. It actually leads to disconnection at a time when you're actually trying to surface more connection. The other thing that I would invite you to consider is to give space to the person who has less power to speak first and to hear from them first. This gives just a sense of more breadth or more room in the conversation, and will allow for there to be more information, more vital information exchange, so you can actually work towards resolution. And the third thing that I invite you to consider is that if while listening to the other person speak, to step into a place of deep curiosity about what's happening for them. And if you are hearing things that you're not understanding, to ask questions and clarify what it is that you're not understanding. This way, you tend to avoid the kind of argumentative or combative way of communicating that can often come up when we're looking at conflict within organizations and workplaces. Thanks for the question.